So I'm working on my old house and doing some plumbing. I needed to do some work on this floor, and so I pulled the floor up and figured while I'm at it, I may as well redo the plumbing. That turned into redoing the plumbing for the whole house. And as part of the replumbing, I'm replumbing it all with PEX, PEX B. And I've got it in these 100-foot rolls, which is kind of nice. The downside is, if you've never worked with PEX off the roll, it wants to stay in a coil. Like you almost have to force it to straighten out. Otherwise it tends to want to roll back up and kind of bunch, and it's kind of a pain. And you have to be careful because as you go to pull it through wherever you're running it, if you kink the line, then you have to cut that. Like you can't have kinks in the line. That introduces a weak spot. So I just want to show you a quick jig I came up with that makes it a lot easier to unspool this and control it and not get it kinked or flop around, or it avoids the headache. I started by just taking a 2x4, cutting it in half, and then I drilled 2 holes at an angle. This was just a pre-drill to make it easier to screw these into the floor joists. Then I took a 3/4 inch spade bit and drilled all the way through, and then just took my die grinder with a burr to kind of round over the holes. Then I took some 3-inch screws and screwed these boards just straight up and down to the floor joists. It's all temporary. The board with the hole drilled through it is facing the direction that I want to pull the tubing. With the PEX on this rail, all we have to do is take one end of the tube. I just went with the end that was towards the top of the bundle. And I've purposely put it so that it's twisting clockwise because the basement access I want to take it through is over there. And the idea is running it through this hole, almost like a mandrel, I guess. That's holding it straight, and by bending it towards that basement access in the opposite direction that it wants to bend, you're putting some pressure on it to help straighten it out. And now I've got enough pulled through that I can run down to the basement and finish pulling it through. So really, it's nothing fancy, but it seems to work pretty well. In doing that run, I didn't have any kinks, I never got caught, and it was fairly easy to pull that through to where I needed it to go. And it's just really simple. Obviously the 2x4s don't need to be this long. This is just what I had. This guy here, you probably could get away with 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet. This one, maybe a little more, since the PEX, as you pull, has a tendency to kind of move up and down. I don't know, 3 feet of wood, and that would work fine. I've heard there's commercial solutions to do this sort of thing, but I'm not a plumber. I'm just doing this once so I can finish up this house, and for me this worked really well. If you didn't have access to the floor joists, you could do like when you have a Christmas tree that you make a stand out of 2x4s or whatever with, where you have boards kind of alternating angles. You could do the same thing on these and just sit it anywhere on the floor. If it's still subfloor, you could probably screw it directly into the subfloor. There's a lot of options. But basically, it's just a giant paper towel holder, and it works pretty well. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If it is, maybe throw a like. And if you have a better idea, throw that in the comments too. I'm always game, even though by the time this video posts, the plumbing will be done. But it could happen again someday. If you want to see how this house gets finished up, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. And it'll probably be here, because I'm not done yet.